I know we're living in some difficult times. I can feel my emotions coming up to the surface because I know that there is a lot of pain on this planet right now. But I am here to help spread love, joy, and peace. And it's absolutely possible to find that within yourself.
Evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world listening to this. This is Jock here. This is Optimizing Human Potential. And today or tonight, whenever you listen to this, I've got a great guest. I'm actually excited about this guest, full a bundle of joy. Just you're going to love her. And she is Wendie Lindsay from, and I've got to get this right, the she's going to have to correct me again, the Pulelehua Spirit Spa in Hawaii. So I get a Scotsman to try and say that. But before I bring her in and we chat and we start to have a good conversation, a couple of things I want to make an announcement about. The holistic network that has been going on for many years. There's been a lot of development, a lot of growth. There's been a lot of changes, and this year in 2026 is even more changes. No longer can people just put on a waiting list and wait. Everybody now has to go through a vetting process. Everybody has to be interviewed. And the reason we're doing this is because we want to take the holistic network to even higher levels. We want top class people in there. We want people that are going to be engaged with us, that are going to teach and educate and connect deeper in the network, that are going to be able to do a lot more and not look at anything as a transactional thing, but more of a complete development, not only of a business sense, but also a complete development of yourself and obviously to educate others. We've got a lot planned for this year, including bringing public members into our private app where our life members will be able to connect with them and teach them. So there's a lot more. So anybody who's out there that's been thinking, that's sitting, we've actually got nearly 200 or over 200 people on a waiting list, and that's going to dwindle because now we're only accepting people after they go through a vetting process and after they go through an interview, so that we can keep the caliber way higher than anything out there. It's not just about a directory. It's not just about a listing. It's about a lot more than that. And I'm really, really excited for what's coming up in 2026. Anyway, without further ado, let me bring my guest on tonight, who's also a member of our network. And is, if you're interested in shamanism, I don't know a great deal about shamanism. I'm really excited to talk to her about her journey. And you're going to hear, you're just going to love her. You're going to hear so much about her. But she's also going to be teaching a masterclass and teaching some classes within our network as well. I'm really excited. So let me bring in Wendie Lindsay from the Pulelehua Spirit Spa. I've probably got that totally wrong. Wendie, how are you?
Hi there. No, that was a really good shot. Pulelehua Spirit Spa. You pretty much nailed it.
I did. I was like, Pulelehua Spirit Spa. I've got to say, honestly, it's even when look at, you have to be very careful. There's so many times that I've kind of screwed somebody's name up, or and I just blame it down to being Scottish. But Wendy, it's so great to have you here. I'm really excited about this conversation.
Yes.
Because you're in beautiful Hawaii, but you go between Hawaii and California.
I do.
But you're a shaman.
Yes, I am absolutely a medicine person, a medicine woman. And that is something that has been a slow burning process since birth, really.
So let's do that. Let's tell everybody about your experiences when you were young and how you became a shaman, what you did and how you were drawn into it.
Yes, yes. I would say, as a child, I had many different kinds of spiritual experiences that would happen to me. And a lot of these experiences would be during the evening time, during dream time and sleep time. And different beings would approach me, different paranormal activities would kind of dip and dive in that in between subconscious states of mind when my normal consciousness was asleep. So that would happen a lot as a child. And during my waking life, there are many moments where I would speak about it to family and sort of bring it up. And a lot of that it wasn't that it was shut down, but it was more just not something that we talked about at the dinner table.
And how did you with these experiences, were you inquisitive? Were you frightened? Anybody who's watching this on YouTube or any of the video platforms that we're on, you might find that I've got a little bit of a cold sore here, which I'm very sorry anybody's looking at, but hey, this is life. I'm getting over the flu, so uh,
Exactly.
so yeah, let's go back. So how did you feel with these experiences, Wendy? Did they scare you, or were you more inquisitive with it?
I was extremely inquisitive, like as a
Mm.
child. I think, like, right as soon as I could speak, it was a question. And I used to ask so many questions to my mother and to my external world. Why is the sky blue? Why are the trees green? Why, I kind of had like a very inquisitive spirit. And as I grew, and I would enter into different rooms as we grow up and different conversations. There were things that I would have premonitions and I would know in advance. And the world just sort of conditionally kind of shut that down a lot. So I think I
Yeah,
went through a
yeah,
period of isolation and kind of a quietness
right.
where I tried to fit into the normal set of standards, even in school, in grade
Yeah.
school, even throughout, high school. I mean, it wasn't really up until I was like old enough to really own a bit of my own sovereignty to kind of ask some of the questions, the harder, deeper questions to my family and really start to dig up answers to those questions.
How did they take it though? As you were these experiences that you had, is how did your family actually take that? Because I mean, before we get into your shamanistic work, but
Yes.
how did they? Did you find that they kind of embraced that, or were a bit worried for you, tried to put
Yeah.
you off?
Well, okay, so waking up in the middle of the night, running out of the room, being like shook by different entities, and then also having peaceful experiences as well, kind of alongside
Mm,
of that. It was kind of like my consciousness was open to everything. And I had to learn as I grew with my shamanistic traits, I learned how to manage those things. And so when I was younger, I would have these experiences where I would be shook or these different paranormal things would happen and I would always know, and I would get out of bed and I would go to my mother's room and say, there's an entity in my room, there's a spirit in my room, I don't know what to do. And of course, coming from a religious background, the
oh,
thing,
you
the
know where
thing,
that's going.
yes. And so that was right there. That was, we're going to throw this out of you. We're going to make sure you go to church and
Yeah,
do all of these things. And then that's where I sort of opened up to the flow of what felt right, but
right.
it created resistance inside of me that didn't feel like it was my freedom or my sovereignty. It was sort of something imposed on me, and that created a lot of resistance. And it was within that resistance and the conditional belief of the world and just how we are, how we are
Yeah.
brought up, right, that caused problems for me later on because as I grew into my own timeline with shamanism and growing up and blossoming as a woman, my sovereignty grew stronger and my voice wanted to come up stronger. And so then I hit just a really big spot in my life where I really had to go inward and really had to detach from family. And I really think that that's kind of how I ended up in the Hawaiian Islands.
Really? How did you? So how did you find then? Because you've mentioned shamanism a couple of times there through your, but and essentially there had to be a moment like where it
Yeah.
was your aha moment or this was your catalyst. How did you find shamanism, and what made you feel that that was the path for you, Wendy?
Wow. It was a very integral moment. I mean, I can pinpoint it on my internal map. It was when I decided to study massage therapy. I decided to really commit to becoming the hands on healer. And that is really when I like my whole world, my whole trajectory just shifted and turned a corner. And that's when things really started ramping up for me
Right,
with clients. Like the daily for me would be to see their ancestors started dipping in while I was doing massage. And it's
right,
like a lot of my uh dormant remembrance started
yeah.
coming online. And that was a lot for me. It was so much that after about 2 years of practice, I had to really put it aside for a while. And that's when I really started dipping more into shamanism, the relation, like relationally, my lineage, my DNA, and what that really was, the truth of the matter, and how that really I had to dig and dig and dig. And then I also leaned into several different shamanic programs, which I stuck with for over 10 years.
I was going to
So
say
that
that
was,
because last time you and I spoke, I mean, I was quite surprised that you
yeah,
had done so much integration with shamanism and teaching.
yes,
Not so much teaching, we'll get into that, but learning, actually going on and studying with various shamans, that it took
yes.
you over 10 years to
It,
learn
it
it.
it sure did. It did take me over 10 years. I had so many questions. I'm still that really curious
Right.
woman with all kinds of questions, and that appetite just needs to be like satiated. So the interesting thing was that it always circled back around to my own intuition. So that what was coming through
Right.
with spirit and my own intuition, I would go hunt it down for validation through other shamans and other people, which was fabulous because there was always a learning curve. There was always more that
Yeah.
was like delivered to me, but it was always circled back to what was already kind of living inside of me, but I had to unlock it. It was like an unveiling and unlocking and a remembering of who I am and what I've been
Oh,
in other
I
lifetimes.
love I love you using the word remembering, because
Yeah.
that is us
Yes.
remembering, getting back to the reality of where we came from, who we are.
Yes.
Let me
Yes.
ask you that. Let's do this, because I have a basic understanding of shamanism, obviously,
Yes.
just as in my life and my
Circle.
development. But there's people out there that are going to be listening, Wendy,
Yes.
that actually don't know what
Yes.
shamanism is, and the
Yes.
benefits it has, and where it comes from. So teach them a little bit of that, because there's people
Yes.
here that will be listening that love the holistic, natural lifestyle, but they don't actually know what it is.
Yes. Okay. Shamanism can be integrated into all facets of your life. For me, it has been the deepest, most freeing integration. And you're right. Shamanism has been around for like millennia. It's been around through
Yeah.
prehistoric man. I mean, it was like the first spiritual asset, our connection to nature and animals and the universe and
Yes.
the spirit
Yes.
within those things. And so we believe that everything has a spirit. Everything has a soul, right? And it's in respect and remembrance and honor
Yeah.
of those things. And really, honestly, it starts with our own remembering of our own self love and our own lineages. So, how I would love to teach is really to start with your going a deep dive inside, looking at your internal world and how you connect to your own lineage. So that would be like my best advice for somebody, like straight out. If you don't know a lot about shamanism, I guarantee you in your own lineage, back and back and back, it doesn't matter how back, okay, because there is no time and space in the spiritual realms. We are not linear, right? We were on a absolutely on a spiral path. The spiral path is integrated in nature. It's integrated in our bodies. It's integrated in crystals and animals. You know, the spiral DNA is really the basis for shamanism. So it's getting away from the linear conditional thinking and really stopping and looking at your own lineage, your ancestors, your own DNA, because shamanism was all over the world. So when we pray,
it's huge, actually.
Right? It's huge. And when we pray to the Lord,
and everybody, like, even when I've had a look at it, from you and I speaking, I looked at it a little bit more, and I found that it was in indigenous cultures everywhere. It's thousands and thousands of years old.
Yes.
Even before Christianity. So, you know, when you and I spoke the last time, I was like, you know, I'd dive into a little bit of this.
I love
to get a little bit more, and it is very intriguing. It's not what I had in my mind, right?
Okay.
And I love how you talk about as well. It's going inside, and it's almost like a shadow work type nature. I've got a great friend of mine who's an expert in shadow work. She's great. Arti Patel, phenomenal. And I'll introduce you to her. You love her. But also, I think with this way that you're looking at it, from going inside to find your lineage, that can be quite a frightening thing, because so many people don't want to go inside.
Yes, exactly. It is a frightening thing to look inside. There's so much trauma, and we all have it. There's so much to look at, and it's so much easier to live a life without looking at those dark corners, without looking, asking those crazy questions, but really to have the growth, we need to be uncomfortable. We need to start not looking in this lens, but we need to open it up. We need to open up our minds so that we can connect. There's no way for us and for our guides and our consciousness to expand unless we start to open up our internal world and what that has looked like for us. We've been told a lot of stories. We've been told a lot of stories about who we are and what we are. And I guarantee you, when you start to work with shamanism, you're going to get to a truth and a sovereign truth deep down inside of you. And I'm not promising that it's going to be overnight. It could take years.
Well, I know. I mean, it took you 10 years of study as well. And in reality, you're still developing. Like, you said to me, you're still learning.
Yes, and that's the beauty of shamanism, is that you still are learning. I am always going to be a student of the universe. I am always going to be, a person that is curious and asking those questions. The knowledge that I've gained through shadow work and embodiment are initiations that I needed to go through in order to get to be, a teacher, to share and help, to be empowered through self-love, so that I'm confident enough to go out there in the world and say, hey, maybe this can help you. This is, this helped me, and so that's where I'm at.
What kind of, it's interesting. I find it fascinating how in different modalities in the holistic world, we have massage and psychotherapy, and psychedelic experiences, which the psychedelic experiences kind of overlap into shamanism, because the psychedelics come from shamanistic culture.
They can. Yes,
so I find that fascinating, how each of these different modalities fits into someone's paradigm, someone's ideological framework of what they're looking for.
Yes.
Why would people come? What kind of problems? Why would people come to you or come to a shaman like you? What problems would they have where they're turning away for the Western world, but there's something else, and they're coming to you? What kind of help? What are they looking for from you?
Yes, yes. Yeah. And I'm not denoting doctors or Western doctors, but I
No.
truly, yeah, right. But I truly believe there is such an intelligence to shamanism and to spiritual work. And we all know that we can purge in spiritual ways and rebirth and go through death and rebirth processes and come out a completely transformed person. I mean, I'm truly, truly an example of this. And I've never done ayahuasca. I've never done, and I'm
Wow.
also not denoting ayahuasca or any of those psychedelic things, because if that can help somebody get to their sovereignty, then by all means. So where I am is developing like completely our own organic skill set that
Right.
we are
Yeah.
born
What's
with.
within us?
What's within us? Yeah. Those types of initiations and death and rebirth and shadow work are so powerful. I highly recommend that people lean in to that kind of sober work first, and see where that takes you. It's like an invitation to say, let me give this a try. Let me see if I can unlock, different facets of who I am and what I am with my own, connections, before I even, dabble in psychedelics.
So do you think, Wendy, that people come to you when they're looking for something deeper or something they can't like, or would they say, look, maybe somebody comes for a massage, maybe someone comes for a counseling session, or maybe somebody's like, there's something going wrong in my life.
Yes.
Or it might be that they've had trauma from a divorce or something.
Yes.
Are they coming to you with a
Yes.
trauma, or are they coming to you because they've lost their way and they're looking for something?
Okay. So I would say like shamanism can actually address every single issue that you just said. But to kind of bring it to a deeper scope, in shamanism, we believe that trauma causes an injury and a loss to your soul. So if you
Okay.
went through a lot of trauma as a child
Right.
and you've never addressed on a soul level, spiritual work, shamanistic, like in that way, then that is something that you could lean into, a soul retrieval. And what
Right.
a shaman can do, what a skilled medicine person, a shaman can do, is travel in between the worlds, right? To go seek wisdom, knowledge, and healing for your client. So that's the scope of a soul retrieval. So what happens is you go to a
Okay.
medicine person, yes, and I travel in between those zones, right, of consciousness, those fields of consciousness where my
Right.
beautiful spirit team lives, and I work with them to spiritually medicine the person that's coming to me. So I work directly with my guides for the information and the wisdom and the healing and the power from them. I work with them, co-collaborating synergistically, and then I deliver that to my client.
You know, that's fascinating. So it's like a deep healing. It's like a
Yeah.
really deep soul level healing. So
Yes.
I had an idea that when you're talking about that, I had this thought process, if you like, this idea that you were going in and trying to find someone's lost part of their soul and bring it back. But it's actually more than that. You're actually healing something that is broken, shattered.
You both. It's absolutely both. So you could go in, because we're so complex, we're all multidimensional. So it's mind, spirit, body, and soul. So where Western medicine can address the physicality of somebody's sickness, a spiritual doctor, a shaman, can come in and address the spiritual sickness. Okay. So for like we look at it as a whole. So if somebody comes and they have a problem with a physical problem, but there's something deeper going on spiritually that they need to have, their soul needs to have that spiritual part be brought in to that puzzle of a person
Yeah,
and
I love
locked
that.
in. Right. So sometimes in my sessions, I get lots of information about things that the person's like their first layer in their mind, they're not connecting to that. But then when we
There's something
counsel,
deeper.
and you get that deeper knowing, that
Yeah.
spiritual reasoning, the spiritual answer to a physical ailment, then it like clicks in and they go, oh wow, I can't believe that I have this migraine headache because I've been squeezing, the wheel to my car when I drive. Every time I'm stressed out and I'm squeezing the wheel, and it's causing me tendonitis, and then I'm getting these horrendous headaches. And here I am thinking my headache is because because my boyfriend is calling me at 9 a.m. or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? And so there's like,
I think that's fascinating because
yes,
it's I do believe that every physical ailment or every physical, even the trauma that we have
yes,
existentially from environment or from experiences,
yes,
is there is a spiritual disconnect.
yes,
It comes from the psyche, if you like. We look at Carl
yes,
Jung did a lot of work on that deeper aspect of the psyche. Saggioli did. There's this deeper aspect, which then, if it's out of balance, then it manifests in the physical reality.
yes,
So I love the way you're going with it, because it
yes,
kind of does answer that. Look, whatever you're going to experience outside. And I think Wayne Dyer, who lived in Hawaii, he had his
beautiful man.
it had a spiritual solution to every problem. Great
Yes,
book,
yes,
and he lived by that. And I think that's true. I think there is a spiritual solution to every problem that's out there, because
absolutely.
we come from spirit essentially. So,
Yeah.
give me some examples of maybe, with obviously keeping confidentiality, but how
Yes.
you have helped
Yes.
your clients with the issues that they've come to and how you found that solution.
Yes. Beautiful. I love the question because yes, confidential. I'll just say, like, I recently had a beautiful session with a beautiful client, and she was mourning the loss of a loved one that was so, so special. And Spirit told me, you know, Spirit sent me to the beach. Spirit said, go to the beach and take a nature walk, and I'll show you a few things for your tool belt so you can help your client. And I said, okay. So I went to the beach, and Spirit was showing me right and left the medicine, collecting medicine for my client. And I will tell you, it was miraculous what came up, because Spirit was telling me, telling me to pick some yellow flowers. And I also am a sound therapist, so I have a beautiful like grounding bowl, and it's bright yellow. And Spirit told me, use your grounding bowl, use your frequency with your grounding bowl, and among some other tools, spiritual tools, when you go into the session. And so we went into the session, and it was about a 2-hour session, for grief. And as we were working together, I told her, I brought these yellow flowers for you, and to help you with this grief. And she just burst out because she was like, wow, the last moments of her beautiful pet passed of 11 years. It's okay for me to say that. So
Yeah,
her beautiful
absolutely.
pet
Yeah, absolutely.
passed of 11 years, because I work with grief, like animals as well. So so she was just like, wow. She was like, the last moments I spent were on the lanai with my pet in the sun, because they loved the sunshine so much. It was so important that the last heartbeat was on the lanai with the sun shining so bright. And it was just magical and beautiful. And that was exactly why Spirit was showing me the sun and to bring in the warmth for her and for her beautiful pet that I just passed that was right there, not quite over the, right there. And they just had a beautiful kinship. We all had a beautiful ceremony together of joy and of love, bringing in the warmth of the sun. And that was so healing for all involved, all involved. And she texted me later on that night and she said, "Thank you so much. I am so tired, but I'm at peace." And then she texted me the next day. She said, "I can't even believe I slept all night long. I slept 7 hours.
Great.
And normally my feet are freezing and I felt so warm and I had this great blood flow, and it was just super miraculous."
That's all. Honestly, I love that. That's awesome that you can help in that way.
Yes.
Give me another example of it with someone that you've helped, not just maybe with something different for grief and things like that. Because I think when people hear how
Yes.
your shamanistic journeys,
Yes.
is that right? You go on a journey when you're doing it. When you're doing a session, is it a journey that you go on?
Yeah, it's super intuitive. So it's
Mm-hmm.
yes, to answer your question, absolutely. Absolutely journey is required. It's journey work. So I
Right.
use a lot of my tools that are my sacred tools that I've been
Right.
initiated with. I use my drum and then my sound tools. I'm a sound therapist and I was so deeply initiated by my Tibetan master teacher.
Right.
So that is super powerful in my repertoire as well. But let me think of another situation where shamanism really helped. And what's coming to mind is we had massive fires here in Maui about
I remember that was all over the
yeah.
news. Yeah.
Yeah, we had massive fires here. It was really unstabilizing for everyone, for the whole island, basically. Yes. And a lot of times spirit will bring me different people and I'll know pretty quickly that I'm to work with them. And
Right.
so yes, and so I met a dear client at a party actually. And I said, "I'd love to do some work with you." And she said, "Oh, I'd love that. Let's get together. Let's put it on the books." So we put it on the books. And we had the most miraculous session. Like she's actually a testimonial on my website. If you go in and you read the first testimonial, there's a big lightning tree next to it, and then her testimonial, she wrote about it. It's like a whole page long. But during
Wow.
our time, yeah, it was potent. It was very potent. And during our time together, we did 3 sessions. And the first session she speaks about is how spirit brought to her the my healing guide that often comes in a very physical sort of way. And so she actually could intercept my animal spirit guide. So she intercepted that in the 3D
Wow.
in a very physical sense, like she was hearing it. It was very
Yeah.
audible, right? So we were having like a very outer worldly experience in real time. So these are the kind of miracles that can happen during shamanic sessions. And so when we were done, she was very quiet. And, if people are very quiet or emotional, I'm just going to be very quiet because they're in a
Yeah.
healing space. And so she received all this medicine, right? So she was feeling warm and good and grounded and at peace. So I excused myself and I left. And then we worked together a couple more sessions, and every session was just like the nuances of every session shifted just a little bit to really meet her where she was at. The medicine that she needs was what was coming through to her. So that first session was very like outer worldly, more
Right.
like, more miraculous because she needed to feel what was outside of her so her own trust and belief systems could kick into gear of trust and faith and love and self-love and knowingness, something bigger than
Right.
herself coming
Yeah.
in to heal her, because there's something magical that happens when that happens. The nuances of that outerly coming inward and feeling that palpable feeling, that palpable healing is, sends you into a different reality than just like, here I am, I'm sad, and I want to heal myself, so let me do ABC. I mean, all those things are great, but why would you go to a shaman for something different or extra? So this is like the nuances of the type of medicine that is able to happen between two people. So it's sort of like the spirit's medicine coming through me, and then we all deliver together. And then that person has an open heart to receive. They receive all that they can, and then they are using it for whatever they need in their own healing. And she needed that belief system. She needed to feel that, to feel
Right.
encompassed by something larger than her. So she had been
That's
through a
beautiful.
lot. Thank you. Thank you so much. She had been through a lot of trauma because her house burned down.
Right. So, I
Yeah.
mean, so people will come to you. Obviously, they've had some traumatic experiences and they're looking for answers, or they're looking for. I love the word that you used ages ago when we were chatting, integration, to integrate it,
Yes.
right? Because it's a big thing for me as well, as integration of grief or anything like that.
Yes.
I love how you're getting them to integrate this kind of medicine that you're receiving,
Yes.
and you do it as a team, and they're part of that. It's not that you're just giving them medicine; they're actually part of that journey as well.
Yes, exactly. My prayer is always that the medicine tempers to whatever that person is needing. So when I work personally, I have this is over the course of 10 years, how I've developed my
Yeah,
skill set with my spirit team. It's relational, right? Because that's
yeah,
what shaman
absolutely.
is. Yeah, it's based on my relations with my spirit guides. I mean, someone can call themselves a shaman one day, and then honestly, a year from there, their power, for whatever reason, can sort of, I'm not going to say like disappear, but it can it's relational. It's relational. It's
Do
about
you have
my,
to, Wendy? Do you have to? I'm interested in this. Because I
yes,
know some shamans, from what I've looked at in some indigenous cultures, when they
yes,
go through their shamanistic training, or
yes,
however you do
right.
it, you have to almost go through a dark night of the soul.
Yes, yes, absolutely. For
How did
sure.
how did you go through that and work with that?
Yeah, that was very intense. I've been through many, many, many different initiations, but I'll bring you back to my first one when I was becoming a massage therapist. Spirit was really leaning me into the spiritual
Hmm.
aspects that were coming up. So my relation and my gifts were coming online, and I would see people's ancestors, and things were really starting to open up. There were paranormal activity happening inside of
Hmm.
my home, like tons of orbs were coming in, and it was a lot. It was really a lot for me, and that's when I took the break from massage therapy, because the hands on the body was really intense for me. A lot was happening, and then that's when I leaned into my program. And when I leaned into my first shamanic program, I tell you, it was not for the weak at heart. Like, it was a 2-week
Hmm.
intense program.
I can
And
imagine.
many people, 30 people were in that program. And about at the very end of it all, maybe 10 people were left.
Oh, really? Why
Yeah.
do you? So why do people fall? Do they find it hard, or do they find it challenge? Because, like I said, when we at the beginning we were talking, it's hard for people to go inside and face themselves and do shadow work. Like my
Yes,
friend Artie, we always laugh because I'm like, I tell her like I don't like doing that. I don't like
I
it's like,
know.
look at yourself in the mirror, and
Yes,
what sometimes you don't like what you see, or there's things inside you that you don't want to come out. And I get it. So
yes.
do you think that's what was happening with them, that they got to a point where they just weren't ready?
It was happening with all of us. Every
Wow.
single one of us, myself included. There were parts of me that were coming up. And when you see, spirit is very literal. This is the thing. Like we're more spirit than we are human, honestly. What's that saying, right? We're spirit having a human experience.
Yeah,
That's
we're
so
human. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. We're
that
not
is
human having a spirit experience. We're spirit having a human experience.
yes, 100%. And so this was a grand example of that, because it sounds like, oh, fun, this is good. Ooh, let's like dip and dive, right? Into these woo woo things and what have you.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I don't have like any issue with people being curious. I mean, I'm like the most curious person. But when you get into a program where you really start to ask and you start to dig, your mirror does come up really
Yeah.
strong. And I
Oh
am
yeah.
just speaking for myself, but I really had to face that mirror. And there were like parts of me that really came up that I had to face. And that was the difficult thing, is really like, am I ready? Am what's happening here? Maybe,
Mm.
uh, like I wanted to continue with the program, but yeah, lots of people like, you ask for it and it comes up. People were getting divorces. People were getting like sicknesses. People, I mean, I don't want to scare anybody, but it just is something like, shamanism is a deep path. It is. It's deep and it's intense. And the good news is that, you go through your initiations and you can really come out like an incredibly transformed, happy, peaceful, person,
And
so
who wouldn't want that? Who
yeah,
wouldn't want that? I mean,
yeah,
seriously, we're always looking for transformation. I think who wouldn't want that, Wendy? I think
exactly.
and I'm excited because you're going to teach some of this
Yes,
shamanistic understandings within the network. But why would
yes,
someone want to take up shamanism? Because it seems like to me, from you and I speaking, it's not an easy path. Like
no,
I've been a medium for over 25 years. It's not an easy path, right?
yes,
So
yes.
what would you be saying to someone who's like, oh, I like what she's saying, I wouldn't mind trying that? Would you give them a warning? How would you prepare them?
No, you know what? I would, like, right now I'm teaching like very basic journeying skills. And so really
Mm.
it is a dip and dive into yourself and your self-love. So if you really want to discover the light, the dark, the good, the lower frequency, the higher frequencies, if you're really a curious person that really wants to bring
Yeah.
that forward and really develop relations with your own spirit team, because we all have resources. We all
Yeah,
do.
absolutely.
We all have resources. And we all have, you know, uh, unlocked remembering of powerful ancestors, that we can learn about and that we can utilize. And so, we are powerful beings and we do have lots and lots of connections. And, the oneness that is for everyone, the oneness that is, it just is. We're all
Yeah.
part of a beautiful family tree, and we certainly are cosmic and one, that everybody should not feel. There's a lot of loneliness, there's a lot of sorrow and grief, and I understand it. I've been
Mm.
there, but there is resources for us to dial into, and shamanism is absolutely a fabulous one, a fabulous way for someone.
What is your, I don't know if there is a favorite aspect. What is your, is there a favorite aspect of shamanism that you prefer more than it? I mean, I don't even know if there is different aspects of it. So I'm kind of
Right.
having a guess here. Is there a favorite part to your shamanistic work that you love?
Yeah, I absolutely love ancestral work. I love
Oh yeah, you've mentioned
lineage.
that a few times.
Yeah,
Right.
yes. Yes, I do. I love lineage and I love connection because we all have an indigenous bone in our body. Everyone
Yeah.
does. Everyone has connection, and so I invite everyone to lean into shamanism for those reasons, for this beautiful resource to
For the
enhance.
lineage.
Yeah, and that enhances your life because it enhances confidence in who you are and what you are and where you came from
Really?
and your connections. Yes.
So looking at so someone that's interested in their lineage or their spiritual lineage or whatever it is, that can
Yes.
actually enhance every aspect of their life looking into
One.
that.
Yeah, I believe that 100% because the spirits have a way of grounding and bringing everything back to what's inside of you. And the biggest message that I ever got from a very prominent spirit guide of mine who is also family, um, she told me, early on, very early on, she said that, Wendy, it is all about the love. Honestly, it is all about the
Mm.
love. It starts with self love. Don't complicate things. Don't get too much in your head. It's not about performing, it's
Mm.
about the self love. It's about the acceptance. It's about creating the least resistance in your body that you can, because it's the resistance that creates suffering.
Do you think people have a problem loving themselves?
Yeah, I think we're living in some hard times,
Mm.
and I think that it's really important to start with self. That's very critical. It's
What
critical.
would you say to someone then that is listening to this now and they're like, you know what, this is resonating to me. How can they start? Give them some kind of tip that they could start tomorrow looking at this or loving themselves a bit more. What would drive them to that?
Yes, yes. Wow. I would say meditation is a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful way to start. Meditation. I would say somatic practices that really slow down your mind because we live in a society that's so
Mm.
fast. And so everything is fast, fast and quick, and jump in your car and go get it.
Yeah.
Do it like this, right?
Instant coffee. Instant
Yeah.
coffee. We want it. Yeah.
Absolutely. So to slow down and to breathe, the breathing
Mm.
practices are very powerful too, right? Like
Yeah.
breathing, yes, meditation and breathing is honestly such a beautiful way to start your process. It's such a beautiful way to lean into what direction do I want to go with my self healing, with my self love? How can I
Mm.
start this journey? I would definitely start with somatic. I would start with meditation.
What about someone, Wendy, who says, like, I'm just going to be devil's advocate here, right?
Yeah,
Somebody that says, you know
sure.
what, Wendy, yeah, I hear what you're saying, right?
Yes,
But I can't meditate, right? I don't know
yeah,
how to meditate, and I've tried it, and I don't find it's good for me. I can't get into it. I
right.
challenge myself. What else would you say to them? How would you guide them from that to something easier that they can start with to build them up to that?
Yes, great question. I would my guides are telling me chanting is fabulous. Chanting
Okay,
is
yeah, right,
fabulous.
yeah,
The
yeah.
brain really loves to repeat positive modalities. So you could choose a self-love chant, right? And you can just literally write those things down and you can literally just start chanting to yourself. I mean, the best would be to be in a meditative state of mind, but if you
Yeah.
do that, if you're a person that's really wound up, you in the
Mm.
car when you're driving, you can chant. You could chant positive affirmations. So chanting is very powerful. Okay, sound.
And actually, anybody, ladies and gentlemen, that's thousands of years old as well. I mean, they've been chanting in indigenous cultures and
Yes.
Buddhism and
Yes.
I mean obviously shamanism, but in every
Yes.
other culture there is a chant. In the
Yes,
Middle East, they
exactly.
chant, they call
Yes.
to prayer.
Yes. Yes. So chanting would be one way, and another way would be drumming. Drumming is
I love
very
that. Yeah,
therapeutic. It's
I do
so
like
therapeutic.
that.
Yeah. And there's just, right? There's just something about holding
Hmm.
the stick and the drum. I mean, the drum is the heartbeat of the universe, it's the heartbeat of the earth. It's that grounding. You can go to the beach
Yeah.
and put your feet in the dirt. You can go to the mountain. You can go to a cliff. You can go to the grass. You can
Yes.
go to your backyard. Just get earthy
Yeah.
and get your feet into the earth, and you could drum. And you know what, you're not performing. This is for you to relax. This is for you to create space.
Yeah.
Right?
See, I like that. See, I couldn't. Like, I know you love to do your drum and
Yes.
stuff. I couldn't
Yes.
do that because it would just totally just
You
I'd be thinking, I'd be concentrating too much in making that drum. But
right.
what I do love is if
Yeah.
you were drumming,
Yes.
I would just sit there and listen to it, and
Yes.
that would make me happy, right? Because I
Yes.
love to hear it and be part of the sound. I don't want to concentrate on doing it, but I'm happy to
Right.
just sit and take it.
Receive, because it is
Yeah.
methodical and it is healing. And so it
Yeah.
really needs to come, sometimes it needs to come outside of us. Sometimes something needs to
Mhm.
come outside of our thoughts, outside of our internal. It needs to be something bigger than those thoughts need to happen in order for us to shift, in order for us to lean into meditation. I mean,
Mhm.
sometimes our internal dialogue is so loud that we do need to turn to other people and healers and whom people we trust to
Yeah.
hear something louder than our own voices in our head. And it helps. It's helpful.
I think it is. I think people's self dialogue is what's destroying them as well. And I think if they take that time
Yes.
to really learn about themselves, and I love this whole idea where you talk about taking people on a journey of themselves, going on a journey with them and them
Yes.
finding themselves essentially
Right. Yes.
is so
Exactly.
it's beautiful, and it's very unique, and it's not easy to do.
No, it's not easy to do. And you just start really no stress, like don't put any pressure on yourself.
Mm.
And that's why like the journey group that I'm leading, it's very basic. I don't want to, that's the thing, right? It's not supposed to be stressful. It's not about
No.
performing,
Mm.
but there is a structure to it. And so you can just apply the structure and then just try it out. And if not, then you can sit there and just listen to the drum and just meditate and just listen to the rhythm of the earth, the rhythm of the heartbeat of the drum. It's very therapeutic, and it's another, it's sound healing in and of itself, right? It's an indigenous way of enjoying sound healing. Yes.
And as everything breaks down to a vibration, the sound is a vibration. I want to ask you something, and I don't know whether this is involved in shamanism. Now, I know that shamans, they will take psychedelics or mushrooms or whatever kind of compounds. But
Sure.
is there a nutritional aspect to shamanism? And when you were going through your training, did you learn about, in particular, like herbs or types of nutrition that would help you spiritually or open up spiritually? Not the psychedelics, but just like a normal type nutrition.
Yeah, that's thank you for asking that, because there are certain herbs, like with, I just can speak from my own medicine. So the spirits and like my guides, they will give me herbs. They will give me
Right,
certain salves and
right,
colors and
right,
herbs and frequencies to give to my client. Like, oh, okay, they're telling me coconut water, or they're telling me coconut salve, or these
right.
things. So there are definitely certain, like rosemary is a big one. That's a big one, of course. And clary sage is huge. That's a big
Oh,
one
I've got
too.
some of that. I got some of that through there,
Yeah,
mate. Yeah, I like that.
and
Yeah,
sweetgrass. Do you like sweetgrass? Sweetgrass is a
I
very
do like
gentle.
sweetgrass. Yeah.
Yes, I love sweetgrass. That's definitely a favorite of mine too. It's very gentle. Very gentle. Yeah, so there are definitely different herbs that are out there. And generally, what I would recommend is whatever land someone is standing on, where your spirit, where you're living, my suggestion would be for you to go to that land, right? And you can ask that land, or if that's not something that somebody's comfortable doing, you can research it and then use those medicinal properties from that land where your energy is standing on. That's kind of that in shamanism, that's important because if somebody like yourself, like you are from Scotland, is this correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I could tell you right now, your ancestors and your lineage and DNA, they had some special herbs and potions. I'm positive.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. Those shamans in your lineage had some. Now, that's what I'm saying. So for you to go and utilize those things for yourself would be incredible. You would get
I love the fact that I've known some indigenous, like Indian, North American Indians. I'd like to say Native Americans that I've met that I love the fact that they seem to be at one with nature. And as you say, they always seem to ask permission of nature. Whereas in the Western culture, we don't. We seem to think that we're above it and that we can do whatever we want.
Right.
But they're always so respectful, and they're always like, they'll talk to the moon or the land or the animals. And I love how you do a lot of work with animals, because there's so many people out there don't have that. They don't have that connection. They don't have that ability or that healing that comes with having those animals, or connection with animals, or helping people through their grieving. Oh, you've gone, Wendy. Oh, your back's all right. Somebody tried to phone you.
Sorry about that. I love that. I love that you're shedding light on that, because there is such an honoring for sure, and especially for the animals. I do enjoy working with animals. Over the holidays, I had a beautiful connection with a horse that I had met that was grieving, and it was just a very powerful, beautiful, loving session. This horse, my partner and I, we were just grabbing some lunch, and I told him, I think there's horses here. I could feel the stables. The stables have got to be somewhere, because I feel like there's horses around. And sure enough, we started discovering, and there was a beautiful horse. And I tell you, that horse needed some healing. And when I went and I worked with this horse, it was gorgeous. And then I said, oh, the horse told me that he was mourning grief, a loss. There was some sort of loss happening. And so the horse and I had this beautiful exchange, and we were leaving. As we were leaving, I told my boyfriend, I said, you know what? Why don't you stop? I'm going to go into the restaurant where we had lunch, and I'd like to talk to the woman there that gave me directions to the stable. So I stopped, I ran back in, and I was chatting with her, and I said, I went to go see the horses. I said, you have one little horse, this gray horse, that's kind of sad. Maybe you can give it, I don't know, some more love or something. And her face got totally white.
Wow.
And she backed up, and she said, I just got shivers all over my body. She said, we had a death. And his friend, his horse friend, passed away. And you're correct. That horse is grieving right now. That horse is sad right now.
Yeah, I love it how in the shamanism side of things, you can break those barriers. I've had people that come to me as me as a medium, and in the past, and they've said, I've lost my dog, and can you connect with my dog? And I've actually done some scientific experiments with a scientist in connection with communication with an animal on the other side of a dog. But I remember saying that to this woman, I'm sorry, I don't speak doggy, and I don't speak for a cat. I can't communicate that way. But what you're exemplifying is that you're having these, and I think it's so needed, because people love their pets, and there's so many people there, I get asked all the time.
Oh my goodness.
That are grieving the loss of their animals, their pets, their horses, their cats, their dogs, whatever it is. And I think shamanism is a way
Yes.
of them coming to you to get help with that, or even for them to take to a shamanistic path to learn to have that connection themselves. I think that's beautiful.
Right.
It's not something I could do, really.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that, because what you're recognizing is like the soul level, right? The
Yeah,
soul
absolutely.
level, yeah, of the spirit. Because we're, the spirit and the animal is the soul level of their sovereign spirit, right? So being able to tap in to that connection to deliver help and healing to the grief and the loss and the trauma is special. That's so. I mean, I was just crying because it was just. I was like, the lady was just like amazed, and I said, "Wow, I."
And
Because I
horses are so spiritual. I
they're
mean, the
so
Native Americans, they venerate the
yeah.
horse, and they honor the spirit of the horse. I mean, some of them are named after the spirit of the horse or whatever
Yeah,
else, you know.
I know there is a special connection, and I wasn't even sure exactly what happened, because the message that he gave me was just that he was grieving and he was in loss. So when she told me that there had been a death there with another, another animal and his friend, then I was like, oh wow, that's exact. The lights went off in my own head. I was like, wow, that's miraculous.
Honestly, it's. Do you know what, Wendy? It's been an hour already. We've actually come up to this time. This is what I mean. When we were talking, you have some fun. Wendy, thank you for coming on. Optimizing human potential. Ladies and gentlemen, Wendy is a beautiful soul who is a member of our network. You'll be able to connect with her from the podcast. Her details are going to be below that you can connect with her. Wendy, what is it that you, in passing, and by the way, guys, she's going to come back. So if you've got any questions, like I've got loads of questions about this. If you've
Yes.
got any shamanistic questions, if you want to learn more about shamanism, send it in. Go on to our holistic network or message us through our podcast. Send in your questions, because I'll put them to Wendy and she can come on
Beautiful.
and she can answer those
Oh,
questions.
I
She's going to be
love.
doing a class as well for our members and for other people out there. We'll let you know about that. But what is it you would like to leave people with about your work as a shaman
Yes.
and a message for them?
Yes. Yes. I know we're living in some difficult times, and I can feel my emotions coming up to the surface, because I know that there is a lot of pain on this planet right now. But I am here to help spread love, joy, and peace. And it's absolutely possible to find that within yourself. And we do have resources. And the spirits, they're here to conspire for us. And I'm here as a medicine person to spread that love and that joy and that connection. Yeah, that's what I'm here to do. So
That's
there
beautiful,
is
Wendy.
resources.
And tell them your website. Tell them your website details so that I don't ruin it by saying the wrong name. Tell them how they can get in touch with you direct to book with you.
Yes, it's Pulelehua spiritspa.com. Yes, Pulele. It's spelled Pulelehua spiritspa.com. And Pulelehua is the Hawaiian name for butterfly, which we all know is transformation.
That's brilliant. So thank you. Thank you so much for Wendy. It's been absolutely brilliant having you on, and it's gone so quickly. Ladies and gentlemen, she will definitely be back. But you can connect with her at our website, or you can connect with her on her profile on the Holistic Network, which you'll get below as well. Ask her any questions, and do let us know what those are. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being our guest today. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for listening, spending time with us on Optimizing Human Potential. Just remember that you have deep potential inside of you. You can optimize your life in mind, body, and soul. And in the Holistic Network, we have those experts ready for you to connect with.
Thank you so much, Jock. Thank you so much.
Beautiful time. God bless, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you on the next episode. God bless.
God bless.